The impact of harassment through social media on interpersonal communication in the digital age. Good evening, everyone. My name is Zachary Luskowski, and today I will be addressing a pressing issue that impacts how we interact and communicate in the digital age. The impact of harassment through social media on interpersonal communication. Social media platforms have revolutionized the way we connect, but they also bring challenges, including the troubling rise of online harassment. To set the foundation for our discussion, let's first define what we mean by harassment. Legally, harassment refers to unwanted behavior that causes distress, fear, or intimidation, which can include actions like threats, stalking, or repeated unwelcome messages. These actions often violate laws designed to protect individual safety and privacy. Psychologically, harassment can be understood as a pattern of aggressive and hostile behavior intended to harm, intimidate, or belittle another person, leading to emotional and mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and stress. Throughout this speech, I will explore how this harmful behavior manifests online, its effects of our ability to communicate effectively, and potential solutions to create a safer digital environment. Social media harassment exists in various forms, ranging from cyberbullying to more subtle aggressive behavior like trolling and doxing. The entity that is limiting interpersonal communication through harassment is multifaceted. It includes both the platforms that allow harmful behaviors to persist and the individual who perpetrates the harassment. At the heart of the problem is the nature of anonymity, or social media platforms, which emboldens users to engage in behavior they may not exhibit in face-to-face interactions. Anonymity, combined with lax content moderation policies, creates an environment where harassment can thrive without consequences. The entity limiting communication is primarily the social media platforms themselves. While companies like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok provide guidelines against harassment, their moderation systems are underpowered and inconsistent. These platforms are designed to maximize user engagement, often prioritizing sensational and controversial content that draws attention even when it involves harassment. The second facet of entity is the individual user. Harassers range from anonymous trolls to known individuals, and their actions can vary from direct personal attacks to more insidious forms of harassment, such as spreading false information or inciting others to participate in the abuse. Often these individuals are emboldened by the viral nature of online content and minimal personal consequences they face. Harassment on social media comes from many sources. It can originate from cultural conflicts, political disagreements, or personal vendettas. According to Pew Research Center, harassment often stems from a lack of accountability, which users feel they can act with impunity due to the relative anonymity provided by social media platforms. Furthermore, algorithms that drive social media content prioritize sensationalism and negativity, making harassment a more common byproduct of platform dynamics. Social media harassment exists because these platforms are built to prioritize engagement, often at the expense of user safety. Controversial or harmful content generates more reactions, shares, and comments, which keeps users engaged. This leads to a system where negative behaviors like harassment are indirectly encouraged. Additionally, harassment persists due to the inherent anonymity that shields harassers from the real-world consequences. The lack of robust moderation further exaggerates the problem, leaving users vulnerable to attack. Harassment on social media can take on many forms. It can be direct, such as sending threatening messages, or indirect, like spreading rumors or false information about a person. The mechanisms of social media, like shares and the comments, allow harassment to quickly gain visibility, creating a feedback loop where more people engage in or affected by the harmful content. Moreover, harassers often operate within echo chambers, where aggressive behavior is normalized and even encouraged by like-minded individuals. This culture makes harassment appear acceptable and often leads to a cycle of abuse that is hard to break. The cause of harassment on social media are rooted in a combination of anonymity, lack of accountability, and the design of social media platforms themselves. The algorithms drive content visibility, reward inflammatory and sensational posts, pushing users to engage in aggressive behaviors to gain attention. Moreover, social norms in online spaces have not fully developed, allowing harmful actions to persist unchecked. The negative effects of harassment on interpersonal communication are profound. First, victims of harassment often withdraw from social media, which limits their ability to engage in conversations and share their perspectives. This leads to a less diverse range of voices online and contributes to the formation of echo chambers where only certain viewpoints are heard. Second, harassment causes significant psychological harm, leading to anxiety, depression, and in some cases, suicidal thoughts. These mental challenges further reduce the ability of victims to communicate effectively, both online and offline. Finally, the presence of harassment degrades the overall quality of communication on social media, making it harder for people to trust one another and engage in meaningful dialogue. To counter and manage the problem of harassment on social media, a multi-pronged approach is required. First, social media platforms must take greater responsibility for moderating content and protecting users from harassment. This can be achieved by improving moderation systems through the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to detect harmful content before it spreads. Platforms should also provide users with clearer tools for reporting harassment and ensure that reports are handled swiftly and effectively. According to research by Mayeno, stronger content moderation policies can significantly reduce the prevalence of harassment on social media platforms. Second, education is a vital tool that can also reduce harassment. Schools, workplaces, and community organizations should offer training on digital literacy and online communication. Users need to be educated about the consequences of online harassment and taught how to engage in respectful communication online. By fostering a culture of empathy and accountability, we can reduce the likelihood of harmful behaviors taking root. Finally, governments and regulatory bodies should step in to create stronger legislation around online harassment. Many countries have laws that address cyberbullying, but more comprehensive regulations are needed to hold platforms accountable for allowing harmful content to proliferate. These laws should ensure that platforms invest in more robust moderation systems and to repeat offenders and held accountable for their actions. When analyzing the causes and effects of harassment on social media, we can apply both deductive and inductive reasoning. Deductively, we can start with the premise that harassment disrupts interpersonal communication by creating an unsafe environment for dialogue. Given this premise, it follows that harassment would reduce the quality of communication on social media, as users become less willing to engage in conversations that may lead to abuse. Inductively, we can observe how individual cases of harassment impact victims. For example, research shows that victims of harassment are more likely to withdraw from online spaces and experience negative mental health effects such as anxiety and depression. From these individual cases, we can infer that harassment on social media leads to a broader cultural shift where open communication is stifled. Analogically, we can compare social media harassment to bullying in physical spaces, such as schools and workplaces. Just as bullying creates a toxic environment that limits communication and fosters fear, harassment on social media creates a similar hostile atmosphere where individuals feel unsafe to express themselves. In conclusion, harassment on social media poses a significant threat to interpersonal communication. It limits free expression, silences diverse perspectives, and contributes to a toxic environment that undermines meaningful dialogue. To address this problem, social media platforms, governments, and individuals must take proactive steps to combat harassment and create a safer, more respectful online environment. Only by addressing the root causes of harassment and promoting positive communication can we hope to restore the integrity of interpersonal communication in the digital age. Thank you.